London, the capital of England, is a vibrant city between British tradition and modernity, colorful, fascinating, and vibrant. Between enjoying the splendid views, discovering historical sites, strolling through some of the most beautiful parks in Europe, indulging in shopping paradise on Oxford Street, or discovering the lively British traditions, there is always something new to explore in London. Today, I have put together some of the most popular sites in London for you to see and experience. Let us now visit 10 of the most popular and interesting sites in the metropolis of London. Probably the most famous bascule bridge in the world is located in London. Tower Bridge leads over the Thames. The famous bridge actually got its name because of the Tower of London, which is right next to it. Even though about 40,000 cars cross the bridge every day and thousands upon thousands of pedestrians walk along it, the ship traffic always has priority. So, when the traffic lights turn red, the bridge rises spectacularly to let large ships through. Pedestrians and motorists need to wait until the bridge sides have reconnected. Be sure to visit the Bridge Museum and the Old Engine House. The entrance to the Tower Bridge exhibition is in the Northwest Tower. Up here you can also visit the Upper Crosswalk, which has a glass floor on one side. A beautiful view over the Thames and the Tower of London is also included. Discount tickets for the museum with the upper crossings can be found in the video description. The landmark of London is the Big Ben. The 13.5-ton bell hangs high up in the bell tower of the Palace of Westminster. The palace is also called the House of Parliament since the British Parliament holds its meetings there nowadays. However, most visitors come because of the Elizabeth Tower, as the bell tower is also called, and of course, because of the most famous bell in the world, Big Ben. Incidentally, the 13.5-ton bell hanging there today weighs as the second one, since the first one weighed an incredible 17 tons, which, however, already got a 2 meters long crack during the dress rehearsal and was then replaced with the somewhat lighter Tower Bell. Big Ben strikes every hour, and many visitors wait around the Palace of Westminster for this moment, since the melody is world famous. It comes from the aria from the Messiah by George Friedrich Handel. Incidentally, several keepers of the great clock take care of the tower clock and bell in the Elizabeth Tower. Located in the immediate vicinity of the House of Parliament and Big Ben, Westminster Abbey is the legendary church of British royalty. This is where kings and queens are crowned and buried. Westminster Abbey has seen them all come and go. Of course, the royal weddings are also performed here by the Supreme Spiritual, the Dean of Westminster. Incidentally, the Dean is appointed to office by the British Crown. The construction of Westminster Abbey began under Henry III in 1245. The Anglo-French Early Gothic style interior is associated with the 3 eras of English Gothic: Early English, Decorated, and Perpendicular. In the meantime, the Archbishop of Canterbury traditionally performs the coronation. In the Westminster Abbey Museum, located in the lower part of the church, you can see the burial places, replicas of the crown jewels, and all sorts of historical paintings and objects. Buckingham Palace is the residence of Queen Elizabeth and has been the abbot of the British kings and queens who preceded her. The Queen's state receptions are also held here. Queen Victoria once ensured that Buckingham Palace became the official residence for British kings and queens. This is still visible today, as there is a very impressive memorial built partly of marble in front of Buckingham Palace. The Victoria Memorial. You should not miss the changing of the guard. The daily march of the Royal Infantry from James Place to Buckingham Palace is worth a visit. The ceremony takes place daily at 11:30 a.m. during summer and every 2 days during winter. It may be cancelled in bad weather. Located right next to Tower Bridge is the Tower of London. Over the centuries, this tower has served many purposes. It was once a royal palace, a notorious prison of no return, an armory, and even the minting of coins has taken place here. Today, many tourists visit the Tower of London mainly because of the British crown jewels, which can be viewed here. On an automatically moving conveyor belt, the visitors get to briefly see the crown jewels, historic crowns of British kings, and an impressive collection of weapons and armor. However, it is perhaps the legendary ravens with clipped wings that have lived here since the 16th century that make the Tower of London such a magnet for visitors. As legend has it that if the tower's ravens leave the fortress, the kingdom will fall. Let us hope that this never happens. What Times Square is to New York, Piccadilly Circus is to London. This is where the most famous billboard in England is located. At the northern corner of Piccadilly Circus, the admittedly very large, illuminated billboard can be found on a corner building. Luminous letters, fast advertising videos and flashing neon lights characterize the square. However, life also pulsates here in other ways. Piccadilly Circus connects luxurious Regent Street with Piccadilly Shopping Street. The Shaftesbury Memorial Fountain, now called Eros Fountain, was built in 1893 and is another site here. The real centre of London is Trafalgar Square, a must-see for everyone visiting London. What is imposing is the 55 meters tall Nelson's column in the middle of the square. The British hero, Lord Nelson, is perched high up there, looking down with dignity on the bustling historic square. Lord Nelson was one of the decisive war heroes in the British victory over the French at the naval battle of Trafalgar on October 21, 1805. At Cape Trafalgar, the Royal Navy under Vice Admiral Horatio Nelson crushingly defeated the Allied Franco-Spanish Armada. The fourth largest Ferris wheel in the world is the impressive London Eye. Directly on the banks of the Thames, the visitor can enjoy the beautiful views from up high at a height of 135 meters. In the center of London, your gaze from the large capsules can sweep over the center of the cosmopolitan city. The magnificent view makes the London Eye a must-see for London tourists. The 32 almost completely glazed cabin capsules offer a fantastic 360 degrees panoramic view. By the way, Capsule 13 has been omitted. This is to keep all mischief away from the London Eye. A complete ride takes about 30 minutes. Enough time to let your eyes wander over Tower Bridge, the House of Parliament with Big Ben, the Thames, and the Shard. Inside the 25-passenger glass capsules are panels with information about the sights to be seen. My tip: be sure to buy your ticket in advance, as the queues are usually long. In the video description you can find discount tickets for the London Eye. If you are visiting the Great Britain's capital for the first time, you should not miss the highest observation deck in London's Southwark district. Here, you will have a spectacular view of many attractions in this beautiful city. The Shard is an incredible 310 meters high and thus the skyscraper with London's highest viewing platform. The Shard offers you a very special view of London. The viewing platform is found on the 68th to 72nd floors. Here, at a height of 244 meters, on a clear day you have a 64 kilometers wide 360 degrees panoramic view of Great Britain's capital. Interactive digital telescopes can also be used to enable you experience this view at different times of day. During a stay in London, a visit to one of the impressive museums should not be missed. Among the most visited are the National Gallery in Trafalgar Square, the British Museum, the Victoria and Albert Museum on Cromwell Road, and the Tate Modern, a former power station that now makes modern works and contemporary art accessible to London visitors. However, there are many more interesting museums in this vibrant cosmopolitan city. It is not for nothing that London is also called the world capital of culture. If you have to limit yourself to one museum due to time constraints, I recommend the Natural History Museum. Besides the many interactive exhibitions, the Tyrannosaurus Rex in the Great Hall is incredibly impressive. The skeleton of the blue whale is also a magnet for visitors. In the meantime, admission is actually free at most museums in London, except for the special exhibitions. Leaving a donation, however, is part of the good conducts. Hyde Park is one of the royal parks in London. Regardless of whether you opt for boating on the Serpentine Lake, relaxation in the sun or having a picnic, here, it is all possible. The Hyde Park is actually a combination of two parks, since the Hyde Park in the east of West Carriage Drive then merges into Kensington Garden in the west. As a visitor, however, you only notice this through of the direct connection, if you actually know it. Incidentally, the park has an unbelievable surface of 2.5 square kilometer. When visiting London, a shopping tour on the most famous shopping street in Europe should not be missed. The 2 kilometers long street offers a shopping paradise with more than 200 shops, many restaurants, and bars. Of course, the famous fish and chips should also be tried here. My tip: go to one of the side streets. There you will find numerous great fish and chips restaurants. Oxford Street is located between London's districts of Soho, Mayfair, and Marylebone. The typical red London double-decker buses also run through here. Be sure to take a ride. So, they were my top 10 sites in London. Of course, this is only a small excerpt of the most visited places in London's capital. There is much more to see here. With the National Gallery, the Warner Brothers Studio Tour London, the making of Harry Potter, St. Paul's Cathedral, Regent's Park and many other sites, the cosmopolitan city of London offers a lot of history, culture and variety. If you liked the video, then I will be glad if you gave it a thumbs up, and if you subscribe to my channel.